Your predecessor visited Russia as well, and today is a good opportunity to touch base and to compare notes on where we are. We will sign an important document, an agreement on visa-free travel for diplomatic and service passport holders, which is important to promote contacts between the two governments in all areas, of course, foreign ministry, ministries of economy, trade, investment, humanitarian exchanges, education. Ghana for us is historically one of the most important partners in the Western Africa. We always remember about your first president, Kwame Nkrumah, who was very popular in my country, and he is one of the outstanding politicians leading decolonization movement. And I also cannot miss mentioning Kofi Annan, another great Ghanaian who was my very close friend, serving as Secretary General in the United Nations from 1997 to 2006. And he indeed is remembered as one of the best in this important position, never taking sides, always being balanced, wise, and always his activities were based on the United Nations Charter, on the principles of the Charter, not selectively applied, but in their entirety. And we also see that President John Dramani Mahama continues to promote unifying agenda on the African continent and the African Union, and also in the world affairs. We will have an opportunity to discuss today our bilateral relations, trade, economic, educational, humanitarian, but we also would appreciate your assessment of the situation in Africa, especially since some of the crises continue to be there in spite of the efforts of the African Union and the international community. And of course, we will discuss the important international issues in other parts of the world, including the Strait of Hormuz, the situation in Latin America, and on the European continent, where our European neighbors continue to threaten Russia with strategic defeat. We will discuss all this, and I hope this would be a useful visit. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Minister Sergey Lavrov. On behalf of my colleagues and in my own name, I want to thank you most sincerely for the invitation to undertake this 3-day official visit. I have been looking forward to honor your invitation, and I'm really delighted that I am here. Russia and Ghana, as you do know, are long-standing partners. We established relations since 1958, and our first president, the founder of our country, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who I must thank you for your very kind commendations, was here in 1961. And since then, our relations have grown in leaps and bounds. We have had many, many areas of cooperation, particularly in education, where we have had a lot of Ghanaians trained here. You offered scholarships right from the era of the Soviet Union. And I am happy to inform you that our current ambassador, Ambassador Jehu Apia, is one of those products, a good symbol of Ghana-Russia relations, who was here on Russian scholarship and met his wife and has been a great friend of Russia since. So we are happy to have him back here. Let me also thank you for the extraordinary hospitality since we arrived. Everybody feels at home, and the way my colleagues are enjoying this visit, I doubt that 3 days will be enough for them. You may have to give them an extension because They are having a very, very good time, and so am I. I want to highlight the important agreement we will be signing today, the visa waiver agreement for holders of diplomatic and service passports. That is a major development which will really deepen ties and advance our cooperation. We have seen in recent years very strong momentum in our relations. In March this year, we hosted political consultations, and we are preparing to have the 5th PJCC, which will be led by my deputy minister later. And we are excited about all the new incursions that our relations have chalked. We've recently received a trade delegation, and we are seeing an uptick in our trade numbers. We're seeing diversity as well, beyond just traditional exports. We are seeing more strategic investments and your support in our effort to add value to our primary commodities, because by 2030, President John Mahama does not want to export raw materials out of our country. We want to add value, we want to create jobs and industrialize, because, as you know, we are hosting the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, which gives us an impetus to advance trade and to ensure that 1.5 billion people are able to have opportunity.